Welcome to Jank Play TCG. My name is Landon, and here we play Jank. And today I am going over the Jank list. That's right, I went through the entire set of Journey Together, and I found the most jankful cards out there. I also went over all of the EXs, as I usually do. Translations and images are provided by Justin Basil. Justin Basil's a fantastic website. Highly recommend you check it out. Hopefully I remember to put a link in the description. Oh, didn't click over. There we go. So there is a new mechanic that we need to talk about in this set. It is Trainers Pokemon. That's right, there are some Pokemon that are like Hops, Zacian, Lilies, Clefairy, Ionos, Bellibolt, Ends, Zoroark. So there's a collection of these cards. I'll go over all of them. The final evolutions at the very least. I won't go over the early evolutions unless I saw something interesting, which I don't think I did. But yeah, we'll go over all of them. First on the list is Butterfree. So this Butterfree is interesting. A, it's pauper legal. B, for 1 energy, you flip 4 coins, you do 60 damage for each heads, and if 2 of them are heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. The chances of you getting at least 2 heads is 50-50, right? I think it's not too bad of a shot to get where either you'll paralyze them or you'll deal damage, or you'll just deal a bunch of damage, or you just fail miserably, right? But I think this one's worth it. You know, they've come out with a few like this. This one I feel like is worth it. I do wish we had the adaptive evolution Caterpie and Metapod back. That would make this Butterfree amazing. Lilligant. Lilligant here is coming at us with a similar ability we have seen before. The ability Sunny Day. Your grass and fire Pokemon's attacks do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. We saw that with Lurantis back in the Sun and Moon days. It was a pretty good card. You know, very situational to whether it'll help you or not, but I do like this, right? I think it's going to be better this time around. Maractus I'm excited about. It is pauper legal. Lilligant didn't have a rarity in Japan, so we gotta wait to see if that's pauper legal. But Maractus here certainly is pauper legal, and it's got a fantastic ability, Bursting Needle. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, put 6 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. That's 60 damage. You throw in a Vengeful Punch there. That's 100 damage coming at you. And then the single energy 20 damage. I think it prevents you from retreating. Not really important. Really, it's the ability and the ability mixed with adding a tool to it that you can get some really interesting effects. Amoonguss EX is terrible. I am so sad as a Amoonguss fan. Spore Ball, 30 damage. You put your opponent to sleep, so they have a 50% chance in just waking up, and it's like you just did 30 damage. And then Mushroom Swing, 100 plus. You flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 80 more. It's a coin flip on 180. If it was just 180 damage, I would say, you know what? It's not too bad. But it's a coin flip on the 180. Amoonguss, you're better than this. A Selgor was the first card I saw that got me really excited about building a deck. A Selgor here has the attack for 2 energy where you do 70 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused and poisoned, and you switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. I might recommend Mimikyu or Maractus. A Selgor is pauper, so if you're going the pauper route, I would recommend the Maractus route. You also throw down Perilous Jungle there, so you're getting poison doing 30 damage, so you're doing 100 damage basically. And if you switch into a Maractus and they attack you, they take 100 more damage. Come on, that's gotta be good. Meowscarada, I almost didn't put this on the list, but I felt like I probably should. This Meowscarada is interesting, if a little underwhelming. So the ability Showtime, once during your turn, you may use this ability. If this Pokemon is on the bench, you may switch it with your active Pokemon. So it can push its way into the active using its ability. It's got one retreat, so a rescue board will just give it free retreat, and you'll be able to retreat back out if you're playing like Iron Valiant or something like that. You know, Iron Valiant EX, does anyone still play that? This Meowscarada is probably not the best choice, but it's an option, right? And then the Rising Bloom, 90 damage, plus if your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon EX, this attack does 90 more damage. 180 isn't terrible. I just said that about the Amoonguss. If it was just 180, it would be fine. This is a single prize Pokemon. It is a stage 2 though. But the attack is double colorless. So if we ever get that double colorless reprint, which I think that is coming, we're getting a lot of familiar mechanics coming back, right? We got EXs, we got A-Specs, we got Trainers Pokemon. Next up is Megas, which we'll talk about at the end. Double colorless, I think, could be fun to bring back, and that would make this Meowscarada decent. It would be able to one-hit shot. It would be able to one-hit a Charizard EX, or really just about anything that's weak to grass. So I decided to throw it on the list. Magmortar. So Magmortar has come in with a interesting ability where during Pokemon checkup, you put 3 more damage counters on your opponent's burned Pokemon, which is fine. Like that's 5 damage counters, 50 damage. Then your opponent flips. If they get heads, they heal from it, right? Too bad, so sad. But 5 damage counters is quite a bit. And then we've got 3 energy, 90 damage. Flip a coin. If heads, they're burned. Like, that's just not worth it. There's other ways to get burned. We'll talk about them. Next up is Blaziken EX. It's got the ability Overflowing Spirit. Once during your turn, you may attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. That's fine. If Infernape with Pyro Dance, where you get to attach a fire and a fighting energy from your hand to your Pokemon any way you like, if that didn't see play, why do I expect Blaziken EX to see play? 2 energy, 200 damage, can't attack next turn. Ends Darmanitan. Ends Darmanitan is from the pre-release promos, so you may have already gotten this card. But first, we've got Backdraft here, which is 30 times. This attack does 30 damage for each basic energy card in your opponent's discard pile. I was thinking of Ceruledge EX. You know, they dump energy into the discard pile, and then Backdraft could come in and just explode a Ceruledge, which I think is going to be pretty funny. It's a decent late game attacker if your opponent's not recovering any of their energy, but it's really situational. I'm not sure. I mean, it's jank at the very least, right? And then the Flame Body Cannon, 90 damage. Discard all energy from this Pokemon. This attack also does 90 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. I like that it's 90 base and then 90 to a bench. I think bench hitting is going to get a little bit more important nowadays. With no Manaphy in this next format, bench hitting is going to be needs to be taken a lot more serious, in my opinion. The card that I have here with Ends Darmanitan is a card called Ends PP Up, and what it does is lets you attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to one of your benched Ends Pokemon. So this says discard all energy from this Pokemon. You just gotta get back onto the bench, play 2 Ends PP Up, then you play your 1 energy from the turn, and then you put it back into the active, right? So it's not, discard all energy isn't too bad an effect. Reshiram EX, just why? I know it's starter deck stuff, but like, so first up, 1 energy, 40 damage. Okay. Then 3 energy, 200 damage. Discard an energy from this Pokemon. If it was 220, I think I could let it slide, but just 200 is kind of too low. Volcanion EX. With the Scorching Steam ability, once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may make your opponent's active Pokemon burned. Beautiful. We mix that with Magmortar, and it's just like guaranteeing this burn. We do have Heat Cyclone, where you do 160, and then you move energy from this Pokemon to one you're benched. Most likely just a benched Volcanion. Yes, 160 is low, but you gotta remember we're also mixing in this burn effect, and that's 50 damage if you got that Magmortar out from the burn, plus if they flip tails, that's 50 damage coming back into your turn, right? So there are benefits here to this, and so that's why I actually really like Volcanion. Octillery, alright, to the water Pokemon. So the first attack, for 1 energy, you put an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon into their hand. It's disruption, right? It disrupts your opponent's strategy. Putting that energy back in their hand means it's not on their active Pokemon, and that means they have to reattach it to attack. And if you're playing more disruption than that, they may just not be able to attack, which is kind of the goal, right? But then we do have the second attack, Octopus Beatdown. I'm not sure if that's going to be what it is when it comes to English, but you just flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 90 damage for each heads, which remind me of an old Maractus card, which for 2 energy, you flip a coin for each energy attached, right? So this one's different. You just flip until you get tails. So, you know, it could just be fun. The 3 energy does make me kind of sad about it, but it is what it is. Ludicolo. Ludicolo looks to be awesome. It's got the ability Vital Samba. Each of your Pokemon in play gets plus 40 HP. The effect does not stack. So you can't get multiple Ludicolos out to have multiple effects occurring to give them plus 80, plus 120, plus 160. No, it's just plus 40. And I think it's good. It's good. What's wrong with that? It's also in Popper, so. Wailord here is just going to pump out a bunch of damage. Hydro Pump, it does 10 plus. I don't know why there's a 10 plus, but whatever. You get 10 damage at least. This attack does 50 damage for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. Using Baxcalibur, you can attach all that energy all at once. And at the bare minimum, if you're just using water energy to power up this attack, you're doing 210 damage. You add on 2 more, that's 310. Like, you can stack on a lot of energy onto this Wailord, and it's got 240 HP as a stage 1 single prize Pokemon. That's fantastic. Also, the art of it is really good. Just didn't make my best art slide. Veluza EX was a Pokemon I expected to say, no, this is garbage, but actually, I think it could be fun, right? So for a single energy, 30 damage, no one cares. But for 3 energy, 120 damage, plus you may discard your hand. If you do, this attack does 120 more damage, being 240 damage. Then you use Togekiss to, at the end of your turn, draw up to have 8 cards in your hand. You just gotta have a lot of recovery going, basically. And I would say throw on the maximum belt and you're hitting 290, and that's really good. So yeah, I actually really like this Veluza EX. Iono's Electrode. I think this is the first train. No, we already did End's Pokemon. But this is the first Iono's Pokemon. Iono only has lightning Pokemon. I wonder why. Iono's Electrode. With the heart-pounding bomb. That's the one that we really want to focus on, right? This Pokemon does 100 damage to itself. Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out. Iono's Electrode has 100 damage, so it knocks itself out. You would think so, but you can increase your HP. Ludicolo's an example, not a good one, but it's an example. There's ways to increase your HP, so that 100 damage you do to yourself won't knock yourself out. And then it's just flip a coin. If heads, you knock out your opponent's active Pokemon. I think it's pretty good. I wish it was on a coin flip, but you know, it can't be perfect. And then we do have Lavinica, the stadium that you see here, which allows you to get 2 basic lightning energies from the discard into your hand. So the 2 that you put in the discard by Iono's Electrode getting knocked out, you can get back real easily so that you can power up your next Pokemon. Ends Joltik. Keep in mind this is a 2 energy attack, but you got that Ends PP up so that Joltik can just be a surprise, right? You can play it down, attach Ends PP up to attach another one, and then put it into the active and attack. So your opponent won't see this coming possibly. But what it does is it does 30 damage plus before doing damage, you discard all Pokemon tool cards from your opponent's active Pokemon. If you discard a Pokemon tool this way, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed, which is interesting, right? I like this. A lot of people use TM tools right now, which discard themselves at the end of your turn, so Ends Joltik wouldn't be able to discard anything there. But there are other tools seeing play, and Ends Joltik being able to get paralyzed off your opponent playing them is definitely fun. Tapu Koko EX. Now this one I think was in a starter deck, so bear with it. Thunder Connect, 60 plus damage. This attack does 20 more damage for each of your benched Pokemon. Let's just say 5, keep it easy. That's 100 more damage, that's 160 for 2 energy. It's just not that exciting, right? And you gotta go through a lot to do 160, which just isn't great. If you want to do more than that, you gotta get Terra Pokemon out, you gotta get Area 0 Underdepths out, and then you can expand to 8 Pokemon on your bench, and then that would do 160 and plus the 60. Then you look at 220, 2 energy, 220. That's fine. That's fine, but it's a lot of work. I like the other Tapu Koko EX, which was also in a star deck, but I believe it was also in a set, so it's actually decent. Iono's Belly Bolt. The Iono's Belly Bolt looks like a lot of fun. So the ability Electric Steamer, as often as you'd like during your turn, you may attach Lightning Energy card from your hand to one of your Iono's Pokemon. So it's a great way to accelerate energy, right? And Belly Bolt needs it because it requires 4 energy to do 230 damage, but then it can't attack next turn. But that made me think, hey, if we play Scramble Switch, this Belly Bolt with 280 HP probably won't be one hit. So you attack for 230, then you Scramble Switch on your next turn, move all the energy off the Belly Bolt they just attacked, and attack again, right? You can use Levitica to recover energy as they go into the discard. Superior energy retrieval might also be a thing, or just regular energy retrieval might also be a thing to consider. Iono's Kilowatt Troll. Why, oh why did that have to be a rare? If it was an uncommon, I would love it. We really need some more engines in Popper. Why can this not be Popper? So, what it is Flashing Draw. You must discard a Lightning Energy from this Pokemon in order to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may draw cards until you have 6 cards in hand. Makes me think of Reverie, but a little worse. But you'll play Iono's Belly Bolt with it, so maybe it's not worse. And you just discard an energy and you draw 6, just like Reverie. Just the energy has to be on Kilowatt Troll rather than in your hand. Yeah. Lily's Clefairy EX. This is definitely one that a lot of people are excited about. I think it's mostly because it's a Dragapult killer. With the ability Fairy Zone, the weakness of each of your opponent's Dragon Pokemon is now Psychic. And Lily's Clefairy is a Psychic Pokemon, which for 2 energy can do Full Moon Rondo, and all the other Rondo moves do very well in the format. So why wouldn't Lily's Clefairy Rondo do very well in this upcoming format, right? In addition to that, Lily's getting a special item, a special tool actually, that it's Lily's Pearl, where when this Pokemon's knocked out, when this Lily's Pokemon is knocked out, your opponent takes 1 fewer prize, which is just insanity, having this Lily's Clefairy EX that gives up 1 prize. It's obviously going to see play in a lot of, Gardevoir decks, but I'm sure we'll find ways to fit in a rainbow energy and Lily's Clefairy to knock out Dragapult since it's the #1 deck, right? So yeah, that's going to be a very exciting card. Bayonet. This one's interesting. So really, we're talking about the first attack, Cursed Speech. Your opponent shuffles 3 cards from their hand into their deck. It reminded me of Salazzle with those 2 energies. Your opponent discards a card from the hand. If this Pokemon evolved from Salandit during this turn, your opponent discards 2 more cards. So Salazzle is mixed with Xerosic Machinations, which forces you to discard down to 3 cards. That mixture has been really annoying in Pauper. Bayonet now doesn't need that effect that Salazzle does of you evolve into it this turn. Sure, you're not discarding the cards, but your opponent's still not getting any cards, right? So it's going to be more annoying, possibly, and it just makes me sad, but I think it's going to make Resident Clinton really happy. I see you, buddy. Metagross. So we get a new Metagross, and this one is Pauper legal. Crazy. It's coming through as, well, it was an uncommon in Japan, which means we can play in my Pauper. Other people's Pauper, maybe not, but my Pauper, definitely. The first attack, we don't really care about. The second attack is quite interesting, though. It does 130 damage for 2 energy, not bad. But if you have a Beldum and a Metang on the bench, this attack does 150 more damage, being 280 damage. Here in Pauper, that's a lot of damage. Now, there is a Metal Metang that accelerates Metal Energy. I don't think you'll want to play that with it, but maybe, you know, I don't know, right? Metagross can definitely be a surprise in something where you're using Metang, and maybe you just, like, throw down a Reversal Energy, evolve Metang into Metagross, and you hit real big. Something along those lines, I don't know. Ends Sigilith. This one is crazy. So this is Pauper legal, and for 3 energy Victory Symbol, if you use this attack when you only have 1 prize card remaining, you win this game. What? So if you get down to 1 prize card, you can just have End Sigilith on the side, 2 ends PP up, attach from hand, switch into the active, Victory Symbol, you win. You don't have to worry about taking prize. It doesn't matter that your opponent is putting something big on the field that's really hard to KO for you. This just wins. Crazy. Crazy. Comparing to the Slowbro, sure, it may not be as good as the Slowbro, but the Slowbro did let you take 2 prize cards if your opponent only had 1, and there were ways to, like, make it to where your opponent couldn't, like, retaliate, basically, or at least KO the Slowbro. Lily's Ribombee. Is this... I have to double check that, actually. I don't know if this is, whoops. Let me, take that there. Nope. Whoa. This is all getting crazy. I don't know if this one's actually Pauper. I gotta double check. But let's go ahead and read it, because it's a good ability. It is Pauper legal. No way. This is like the only pre-release promo that's Pauper legal. Crazy. So the ability inviting Wink, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may have your opponent reveal their hand and put any number of basic Pokemon you find there onto their bench. Erica's Invitation did a similar thing, worse, and was a supporter. Lily's Ribombee doing this is awesome. This is so good. Plus the free retreat, single energy, 50 damage, may not be great, but it's decent. And you got Lily's Pearl, where you can make this a 0 prize Pokemon. Love it. This thing's gonna be so good. There we go. Lily's Comfy is next, and this one is Pauper legal. With the Flower Call attack, I really like this, where search your deck for a number of basic Lily's Pokemon, put them onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. It's like Precious Trolley in an attack. If you don't want to use Precious Trolley as your ace spec, Flower Call in a Lily deck is just going to be so good, right? So we love it. It's an awesome card. The Fade Out I also really enjoy. 30 damage, and then you put this and all attached cards into your hand. There's some fun stuff to do with that, where you put up Mimikyu or something like that. Plus, Lily's Pearl can make this a single prize. So, yay. Mimikyu EX. Mimikyu has already had an EX. We'll see how this compares. So, Mischievous Hands with 2 energy. Choose 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Put 3 damage counters on each of them. That's not bad. If you gotta get damage out there, that's not a bad way to do it. It's damage counters, so the upcoming Shaman that's just like the Manaphy that's rotating out won't be able to block it, right? So I like it. Is it better than Void Return on the Mimikyu we already have, where you do 30 and then switch to the bench for single energy? I don't know, honestly. I just don't know. And then for 3 energy, 120 damage, your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. Compare that to Energy Burst, 3 energy. This attack does 30 damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon, being at least 90, and then however much is attached to your opponent's. I'm gonna say the newer EX is better, and that might not be true, but I think it is. Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl here, single energy, shadowy knot, 50 times damage. This attack does 50 damage for each energy cost in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat costs. There are ways to increase this, such as Spidops, Gravity Gemstone. Forgot to put Ariados on here. But I do want to point out that it takes a retreat cost of 5 or more for Grimmsnarl to outpace Spidops. That's right. Spidops will be doing, let's see, if you do 5 times 30, that's 150, plus 90, that's 240, and at 5 retreat costs, Grimmsnarl will be doing 250. So there is where it starts outpacing Spidops, and I don't know if that's worth it, honestly. And it doesn't even have an ability like Spidops where it increases retreat costs. So you have to rely on Gravity Gemstone, but Spidops can do that a lot better. Yeah. Alcremie EX. 3 energy, 160 is really nothing to talk about here. It doesn't come with really any other bonuses, except this ability where, Sweet Gift, once during your turn, you may heal 30 damage from one of your Pokemon. It's kind of just a bench sitter at that point, and it just lets you heal the occasional damage. Garnackly non-EX was able to heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon. Sure, it's less damage, but it's also less prizes you're giving up. But it's also one more stage evolution. So I don't see Garnackles getting any play. Creamy probably won't see play. You never know, though, with these heal cards. One day someone's going to figure it out, and then everyone's going to be like, oh no, we got to counter this somehow, you know? Mamoswine EX. Mamoswine EX. Ross from PTCG Radio must be so excited because Mamoswine EX actually looks fun. So, you got the Mammoth Carry. Oh, I thought I was going to say Cry. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your deck. Great. Fantastic. Free Pokemon search. If you get more Mamoswine EXs out, that's just more free Pokemon search. And then for 2 energy, Rumbling March, 180, that's a great starting point. Plus, this attack does 40 damage for each stage 2 on your bench. And I was thinking, you know, we were just talking about Granackle. Well, if you throw that on there, then you're healing every turn. Sure, it's a lot of stage 2s. But you're dealing more damage with Mamoswine and you're healing off damage with Garnackle. That could be seriously annoying. Lycanroc EX looks amazing. Holy cow. I don't know who designed this, but they did a phenomenal job in making what could be a single prize meta-relevant deck, in my opinion. So, we've got the Entangling Spikes ability, right? When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may attach up to 2 Spike Energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. Spike Energy is a new special energy I'll talk about later on, but basically, if you attack a Pokemon with Spike Energy, your opponent's Pokemon has Spike Energy, you will take 20 damage. Just like Rocky Helmet, right? But then Rocky Helmet can add on to Spike Energy, so like you can do even more. And this Lycanroc attack is nothing but colorless, so you use that ability, you get 2 from the discard easily, just attach a third or a different kind of energy, and then you can do the attack. It's 40 damage, plus this attack does 40 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. That can add up quick. So, love it. This is going to be so much fun. I bet people are already building decks of this just from pre-release cards. Yeah, fantastic. Hop Sandaconda. Wasn't expecting to see this Pokemon. I didn't remember Hop having a Sandaconda. But, for 2 energy, we got Rumble. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. Okay. We got 3 energy, Break Ground, 140 damage. This attack does 20 damage to each of your benched Pokemon. Not to your opponent's benched Pokemon, to your benched Pokemon. But we can actually make this good. Because Hop's Choice Band, that's the card that you don't recognize. Yeah. Right over there. What it does is it lets you use Hop Pokemon's attacks for 1 less energy, and you do 30 more damage, which is phenomenal. This is an amazing tool. But that would mean Break Ground does 170 for 2 energy, which is so good. Sure, you're damaging your own Pokemon, but we got ways to figure that out. Toedscruel. I just wanted to include this one. It's got the ability, as long as this Pokemon is on your bench, your active Pokemon's retreat cost is 2 energy less. Yeah, we've got that with Hisuian Sneasler already on a stage 1. Hisuian Sneasler rarely sees play. I think Toedscruel will rarely see play, but you have an option, right? And it's Toedscruel, so it's cool. Cloth. Alright, Cloth is available here in Pauper. It's got a, really the first attack is what we're focused on, the 2 colorless energy attack. You flip 2 coins. For each heads, you discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Most likely, you'll be getting at least 1 coin, right? You'll get 1 heads. The probability is like 75% of the time you'll get at least 1 head. 50-50, you'll get 1 head, and then 25% chance you'll get 2 heads, and then there's just that 25% chance will you get 2 tails. Although if you're me, it's more like 50% chance you'll get 2 tails. But discarding energy off your opponent's active Pokemon is fantastic. I made a deck around Gumshoes because it discarded 1. It was a guaranteed discard, which I thought was really important. Cloth having such a decent chance at hitting just 1, and then also having a chance of hitting 2 is also really fun. 2 Crushing Hammers, because that's basically what you're getting. 2 shots at Crushing Hammer with that attack. I think it could be fun. Could be a fun energy denial deck. Yeah, and it's Pauper legal. Wheezing. Why does Wheezing get such interesting cards? So the first attack, Gas Overflow, you do 30 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. I love confusion. That's a 50% chance whether or not they'll attack, or spend resources getting it out of the active and possibly back in. But then we get Crazy Bomb, and this is where it gets fun, right? If this Pokemon used Gas Overflow during your last turn, this attack does 120 more damage. So that makes it 170 damage. You'd want to play Survival Brace to prevent Wheezing from being knocked out. Then you play Bianca's Devotion in order to fully heal Wheezing on your next turn, right? And you do Crazy Bomb That's 170 plus the 30 from gas overflow. That's 200 damage plus 30 possibly from them flipping tails on confusion. That's 230 damage. And it's over 2 turns, but still, this is a single prizer, and I love confusion, and I think this is absolutely great. It is Pauper legal, but Survival Brace is not, so you gotta keep that in mind. Paldean Clogzyre EX. Man, I really want to like Clogzyre cards, but they're just not that great. As great as the Pokemon is, the cards have not been great. A Poison Ring, 2 energy, 60 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. 3 energy, 220. It's Giga Impact. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. I just think Arbok does it better, honestly. Sure, it's not getting like the numbers that Clogzyre is, but it's a single prize stage 1. It burns, confuse, and poisons, and then you play things to increase those, and yeah, Clogzyre EX just isn't great, sadly. Tyranitar. We have gotten 4 different Tyranitars in the Scarlet and Violet era. I've been sitting down all day. I want to stand up. And you can play all 4 in one deck, which is fantastic. I love that type of strategy building, right? Where you got multiple evolutions you can go to. So whatever situation you may find yourself in, you may want a different evolution. And let's see. This new Tyranitar Daunting Gaze ability. While this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent can't play any item cards from their hand. That is item lock off of an ability. We haven't seen that for quite a while. And then for 2 energy, you're doing 150 damage and forcing your opponent to discard the top 2 cards of their deck. I like it. I really like this. This is item lock, plus you're milling them, plus you're doing decent damage. Like, this is hitting you on 3 fronts. It's just such a powerful card. Ends per Liant. Why is there no ends per ugly? I don't know. No, wait. Not per ugly. I wrote that down wrong. It's not per ugly. It's Lion evolves into Liepard. Liepard! Why'd I put per ugly? I don't know. Your opponent, for 2 energy, 30 damage, your opponent reveals their hand, puts a card, and then you put a card you find there on the bottom of their deck. Jeez, I cannot speak. It's decent early game disruption. I would have to see Liepard, if there's an Ends Liepard that's coming in the future, or what's going on with that, to really give this full thought. But it's a decent disruption. It's okay disruption. Yeah. But it's in Pauper, so yeah. Ends Zoroark EX. So this is just Zoroark GX returning, which is a little frustrating. Ends Zoroark GX made every deck in the Sun and Moon era just better, right? So every deck played it. I don't think Ends Zoroark is going to see that amount of play, but that trade ability that where you discard a card and draw 2 cards is really good. And it does see play occasionally. It makes Gardevoir a little bit better. That's on Kirlia. So, yeah, it's good ability. And then for 2 energy, you get to choose one of your benched Ends Pokemon's attacks and use as this attack. So every End Pokemon we're talking about, that attack can be used for 2 Darkness energy with Ends Zoroark. Crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. Pangoro. Really, I'm only talking about the first attack. I even forgot what the second attack's effect is. It's probably like can't use this attack next turn or something. But Torment, for 30 damage, you choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks during your opponent's next turn. That Pokemon can't use that attack. Super awesome. Darkness weakness, 30 damage, where there was a Hypno in Scarlet Violet base that for a single energy, you flip a coin, and then you get to do that. No, that's something completely different. My brain today is gone. But It is Pauper legal, which is important to keep in mind, and I think that could be a lot of fun to play around with. Ends Clink Clang. So Ends Clink Clang, stage 2 for 3 energy. That's really the only attack that we care about. You flip 3 coins, and this attack does 120 damage for each heads. Now, this is Pauper legal. This is why I'm even giving it the time of day, right? Because on average, like, you'll do 120 to 240 damage a turn. And that's decent numbers in Pauper, right? And then there will be the occasional turns where you hit 0 and you do 0, and there will be the occasional turns where you hit 3 and you're doing 360 damage, right? So yeah, it's a flippy thing. If we ever get cards that help you with coin flips, this will get better, right? So yeah. Magirna is interesting. It's got the spike draw attack. Love that attack. You do 20 damage, draw 2 cards. It is phenomenal. We last saw that on Diancie, or not last saw, but you know, yeah. But it's got this ability auto heal. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, whenever you attach an energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon, heal 90 damage from that Pokemon. That could be quite a bit of damage, right? You just switch into Magirna, pull back the Pokemon that was just attacked, you attach an energy, you heal 90 damage. That's really, really freaking good. So yeah. Hop's Corviknight being Pauper legal is insane. So, 1 energy, 50 damage. This attack also does 50 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Bench sniping to 50 damage is terrifying. Then we've got Steel Wing, where you do 150 damage for 3 energy. And during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 60 less damage from attacks, which gives it effectively an HP of 230, right? Although if you don't knock it out, then you know what I mean. You know what I mean, right? And then in addition to that, you add in all of Hop's cards, which we're going to go over later. Hop is insane. He's on a whole nother level. This Corviknight can get plus 120 damage, meaning it could be doing 270 and taking 60 less damage. And you can get this energy pretty easily with Metang. So yeah, I put Hop's Choice Band there because that's insane. Hop's Zacian. Hop is just insane. So first we got 1 energy Insta Strike. This attack also does 30 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. 30, not bad. And then for 4 energy, or 3 if you've got Hop's Choice Band on, you do 240 damage. Then you add the bonuses from Hop's Stadium, Hop's Snorlax, and Hop's Choice Band, and Kyurem, because you can play all of those in one turn, and you're doing 360 damage for 3 energy, and you can get that energy using Metang. Hop is next level, y'all. Salamence EX. Wide Blast, 3 energy. This attack does 50 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon, benched Pokemon. So it won't be doing any to the active, which is sad. But with Manaphy rotating, there's a short period of time where bench damage may actually matter. So Salamence being able to take advantage of that can be really scary. In the last Pauper tournament, I faced a deck that was doing pretty good damage like that. I think it was doing 50. Yeah, because it was 2 hitting Dragapult. Dragapult's pre-evolution. And it was just insane. Salamence EX is just that, but also with a backup attack that can do 300 damage. And then you discard 2 energy. Dredigan is Pauper legal, and what it lets you do for 1 energy is 20 damage. Then you attach a basic fire energy card from your discard pile to one of your dragon Pokemon. Obviously, you can connect that to Salamence, that's discarding 2 energy, and then Dragon can put that energy back on. You do have an attack that does 120, but Dragon is Pauper legal, so I'm sure there's some shenanigans there. Ends Reshiram. We've seen this card before. A lot of people have talked about. Let me just quickly go over it, right? So first off, we got Powerful Rage for 2 energy, where it does 20 damage for each damage count on this Pokemon. It's got 130, so if it's got exactly 120 damage done to it, you're doing 240. That's all right, you know. But for 4 energy, you're doing Virtuous Flame for 170. Although you're not doing that, actually. You're using Zoroark to copy Virtuous Flame, so it's doing 170 as Dark type, which can actually hit weakness, unlike Dragon type. And it's only 2 energy instead of 4 energy. It's, yeah. Zoroark. Your thing of nightmares, Zoroark. Hops Snorlax. I mentioned this earlier, but with the extra helpings ability, the attacks of your Hops Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. This effect doesn't stack. The translation was Big Belly, but yeah, it's actually extra helpings. So you can only get advantage of 1 Hops Snorlax at a time. But then you throw in Hop's Choice Band, and then you throw in Hop's Stadium, and you're getting plus 90 for Hop's Pokemon. What? Exactly. The Dunsparce EX, finally! The Dunsparce gets an EX, and you know what? I actually dig it. So Adversity Tail. For 1 energy, you do 60 times damage. This deck does 60 damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon EX. Lots of people play lots of EXs, and especially since Pokemon V will be no more, yeah, lots more EXs will be played, and that just means this does more damage. Then, in addition, you've got that 3 energy attack Drill Break, 150, this attack's damage isn't affected by any effects of your opponent's active Pokemon, meaning it can hit through Mimikyu. Take that, Mimikyu. It's a little overkill on Mimikyu, but you know what? Yeah, it's still good. Still good. Noivern. I love Noivern. I love the ability. Tuning Echo. If you have the same number of cards in your hand as your opponent, ignore all energy costs for this Pokemon's Panic Howl attack. I love 0 energy decks. This is amazing. Love it. It's proper legal. All that stuff. Panic Howl, you do 110 damage, and your opponent's Pokemon is now confused. So 110 is not too great, but you get confusion off that, and that can make up for it a little bit. And you just play Judge to get your hand down to 4, and your opponent's hand down to 4. So you equal your opponent's hand pretty easily, and then you get to attack for 0 energy. Love it! And it's proper legal. Reminds me of that Yamega that had that ability where that one guy took it to Worlds and Seniors and won. Super long time ago. I forget his name, but yeah, loved that deck. Komala making the list, even though I checked it twice. This is proper legal, and it's very interesting, and the wording of this attack makes it a little bit worse, but it's still decent enough, right? So Goodnight Knocking, 30 damage. Both active Pokemon are now asleep. During your next turn, attacks used by this Pokemon do 100 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So you use Goodnight Knocking. You put both active Pokemon asleep. Your opponent 25 or 50% chance whether or not they'll wake up, right? And then again, 50% chance whether or not they'll wake up at the end of their turn. The key point is the end of their turn. You're also flipping at those 2 moments. You have what is it? A 75% chance of waking up? No, can't be that. A 66% chance of waking up, while your opponent has a 50% chance of waking up before their turn. So you have a 66% chance of waking up before your turn. So you're just more likely to wake up, right? And that's going to let you keep doing that. But you can just throw in a therapeutic energy, then you can't be affected by sleep, and then you're just doing 130 after 130 after 130 after 130 every turn while your opponent is stuck being asleep. Hop's Double. All right, Hop's Double with the ability Challenge Horn. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may switch in one of your opponent's benched Pokemon to the active spot. Sadly, this is not Pauper legal. It reminded me of Ledian. Well, Ledian only works on 90 HP Pokemon, 90 HP or less remaining HP, that is. So, Double can target anything, but it doesn't have free retreat and 3 energy 80 rather than Lydian's 2 energy 70. Lydian should have been Pauper. I don't know why it wasn't, but should have been. Cramorant here. 2 energy, 50 times. Flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 50 damage for each heads. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. You just flip until you get tails. You get 1 heads, that's 50 damage. 2 heads, that's 100. 3 heads, that's 150. It starts adding up pretty quickly, especially for this single prize 2 energy Pokemon that, you know, no one's gonna think about really, and you can pull that out as a surprise, and you might just get lucky. And sometimes these are the cards that will make a match, right? It won't make a deck, but it'll make a match where you're like, you know what? There's nothing I can do here. I need to knock out this, you know, in the future, possibly 3 prize Pokemon. And I have nothing that can do it. Well, if I get really lucky, Cramorant can do it. And that's really all that you're looking for Cramorant to do, right? So yeah. And in the same set, we're also getting Hop's Cramorant. Fantastic. Can't have too much Cramorant. With the Fickle Spit attack, for 1 energy, you do 120. If your opponent doesn't have exactly 3 or 4 prize cards remaining, this attack does nothing. Which made me think of like Buzzwole and Cephalon, I believe is how you say that. Where they had to have the prize cards be an exact thing. I think Beast Energy also was 3 to 4 prizes. So like Ultra Beast played around your prizes like this. So Hop's Cramorant really just made me think of Ultra Beast. But I think it's really good for a single energy 120. And sure, it's got to be in the middle of the match. But like sometimes you just need that. Sometimes you just need like Nest Ball energy. You have 3 or 4 prize cards. I can take a knockout on this benched whatever, you know? Hop's Cramorant, fantastic, and Pauper legal. Brock's Scouting is a supporter card, and you get to choose one of 2 effects. First, search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon, reveal them, put them in your hand, then shuffle your deck. Second, search your deck for an evolution Pokemon, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your deck. So many times we're playing Arven to get Buddy Poffin, or we're playing Arven to get Ultra Ball. Brock Scouting just skips that part of it and lets us just grab Pokemon. And the best part is that Brock Scouting lets you grab 2 basic Pokemon and put them into your hand rather than immediately onto the bench. They don't have to be 70 HP or less either. So I actually think Brock Scouting is going to see play. Mark my words. Brock Scouting might actually see play. I really like it. If you've got Pokemon that are higher than 70 HP, play Brock Scouting. Because then you can just search for your basics. 2 basics. With a supporter, turn 2. Like, yeah. Yeah. Hop's Bag. I'm telling you, Hop is insane. Hop's Bag is an item card, and you get to search your deck for 2 basic Hop's Pokemon, put them on your bench, then shuffle your deck. It's like Buddy Poffin, or what I was just talking about, Brock's whatever. Scouting. You get to search for 2 Hop's Pokemon, basic Pokemon, put them onto your bench. So, sure, they go straight to your bench like Buddy Poffin, but they don't have that HP cap like Brock Scouting. Hop's Bag is insane. Love it. It's awesome. Hop's amazing. Hop's Choice Band. I already talked about this, but let's talk about it some more. When the Hop's Pokemon this card is attached to uses an attack, the attack costs 1 colorless energy less and does 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. It's a choice band mixed with a counter game. But the choice band doesn't only work against Pokemon GX or EX, it works against all Pokemon. In the counter game, you don't have to be behind on prizes, it's just whenever you feel like it. Hop's choice band is insane. Hop is busted. Iris's fighting spirit. I don't think there's much more to say about Hop's choice band. It's a busted card. Iris's fighting spirit. It's a supporter card. You discard a card from your hand, and then you drop until you have 6 cards in your hand. We are losing Cynthia's ambition, so a draw up to X amount card is kind of needed. And Iris's fighting spirit, you just gotta have one other card in your hand. You discard that, and you get to draw up until you have 6, which is pretty good. It reminds me also of Morty's Conviction, which I see where it is better in some ways than Iris's Fighting Spirit, but also worse than Iris's Fighting Spirit. It really depends on how this meta really shapes up. Is Area Zero going to be that big of a deal? Levitica. I already talked about that. Am I pronouncing that right? It's Iono Stadium. I don't know why they didn't just say Iono Stadium, Iono's Gym, whatever. It's Levitica. Once during your turn, once during each player's turn, that Pokemon may put up to 2 basic Lightning Energy cards from their discard pile into their hand. Then you get to attach them with Iono's Belly Bolt, and you can attach one to Kilowattrel, then discard a card, discard an energy from Kilowattrel, and drop until you have 6 cards in hand. Freaking tastic. Plus, like, since Iono's Pokemon are all lightning or energy or electric, you can use Electric Generator, right? Busted. Not as good as Hop, but still, Iono's pretty good. Lily's Pearl is a tool card. If the Lily's Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked down by damage from an opponent's Pokemon's attack, your opponent takes 1 fewer prize card. So, Lily's Clefairy with Lily's Pearl and Legacy Energy is a 0 prize Pokemon. What more can you say, right? What more can you say? Ends Castle. The Don't Laugh wasn't supposed to be there. It's later on. Stadium. Each of Ends Pokemon in play that has no retreat cost. It's Float Stone, but it gives it to everyone, right? Free Retreat is fantastic. We love it. Really messes up Spidops a little bit, but you know what? It's a stadium, so we just play a counter stadium. And yeah, no retreat cost. Beautiful. So you can get your Zoroark into the active and use the attack for 2 energy rather than having Reshiram stuck in the active and having to use that 4 energy attack. Ends PP up. That's where the don't laugh is. Ends PP up. Don't laugh, please. Don't laugh. I'm childish. I've laughed. I am holding back laughter right now. Item card. Attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to one of your benched Ends Pokemon. Fantastic. We've got like Dark Patch is leaving the format, which allowed you to attach a dark energy to one of your benched Dark Pokemon, but Ends PP up. It lets you attach any basic energy card to one of your Ends Pokemon, which is pretty awesome. Postwick is apparently what this stadium is called. This city, or wherever this is. I know it's supposed to be like the beginning of Gen 8. It's probably Postwick's village or whatever. But it's a stadium card where the attacks of Hop's Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Now I've gone over all 3 of these cards. That's plus 90 together, which is insane. Why, Hop? Why? We get your brother was the Pokemon League champion and we crushed him. He was the best player ever and we demolished his Charizard. But this is a lot of damage. Redeemable ticket or exchange ticket. No idea what it's going to be called. Item. After counting your prize cards, shuffle them and put them on the bottom of your deck. Then take that many cards from the top of your deck and put them face down as your prize cards. It's a way to get cards out of your prizes. So assuming Heavy Ball to get your basics, this can get any card out of your prizes. B, I should have had Dusk Ball on here, because since you put them on the bottom of your deck, if you know you have a Pokemon down there, you Dusk Ball it and you grab it, right? But yeah, it's just going to replace Hisuian and Heavy Ball. Sure, it's worse than Hisuian and Heavy Ball. It's definitely, like, you can now cut this card, but some people will still want it. Ruffian. We gotta deal with Ruffians now. It's a supporter card. You discard a Pokemon tool and a special energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon. Why couldn't it have been any Pokemon? I don't know. Or any energy? I don't know. But it specifies special, so it's like an enhanced hammer mixed with a lost vacuum, sort of. Super Potion. We have not seen Super Potion since XY Evolutions. That was forever ago. I'm so happy that's back now. You heal 60 by discarding an energy from your Pokemon. Pretty simple stuff, right? Like it. Spike Energy. This is the final new card on the Jank list. We've already gone over Spike Energy, where it provides one colorless energy, but then I messed up and didn't move the text up here, so I'll read it. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an opponent's attack, even if it's knocked out, put 2 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. Lycanroc can recover these from the discard and attach it to themselves. Maractus has a colorless attack, so you can use Spike Energy to use that attack, and then Maractus's ability plus Spike Energy plus Vengeful Punch, you're looking at 120 damage going back to your opponent, just like Rocky Helmet, 20 damage. The best trainer of the set is Hop. There were 4 trainers. Hop was the best. Right? Prove to me that Hop wasn't the best. Hop's got fantastic cards that are just doing really good numbers, in addition to cards to do higher numbers, Gust Pokemon, grab your basics. I mean, it's just so good. It's just so good. Just so good. Hop wins. A second place, I don't know. They're kind of all tied at that point. I know I'll be playing around with Iono. My wife wants to build a Hop deck, and I understand why. This thing is busted. The best illustration rares. These are my choices. I love that Meowth. The art style is so old school, with the coloring and everything. Love it. It looks like, you know, the Gen 1 Pokemon that it's supposed to be. The Furret is just, it's going the opposite direction, where it's like more realistic. Sadly, it does tip into like AI generated art a little bit, but it's not. Like, it's not. The way that it's lit clearly tells you there's directional lighting, where a lot of AI generated art can't do that, you know? But yeah, I do like it where it's more like realistic looking, very cute. The Maractus also is just awesome. How it's hanging out with other cacti. Love it. The best full arts. Feel free to be mad at me, but I do believe these are the best full arts. The Ruffian was the best trainer full art, and I wanted to fit at least one trainer full art, at least the ones that I saw. So that is in third. But then you got the Dunsparce there, which just that blue mixed with the blue that's already on it. Looks like it's the same blue. Fantastic. Love it. And then that Mamoswine looks dangerous. And Ross of PTCG Radio. If you're watching, thanks for watching. I doubt you are. But you're going to love this, I think. The best special illustration rares. Now, in third place, we do have Iono's Kilowattrel. There was an Iono's Belly Bolt. Some people are going to prefer that art. I preferred this art. A lot more exciting and everything to it. And then we got Lily's Clefairy. We've seen this card before. It's been the talk of the town forever, but this is still adorable art. And then we got Volcanion in first. I was not expecting this to be first, but you know what? It won me over. It just looks amazing. Actually makes Volcanion look dangerous rather than kind of weird turtle with a circle over its head. I know those are like arms, but yeah. I really like these arts, and I really hope I can get that Iono art. So Popper. I do have a Popper tournament coming up. April 19th will be my next Popper tournament on the Discord. They're free to play. There's prizes. I highly recommend you come try it out. There's deck lists available if you don't want to build a deck. Plenty of people will help you pick a good deck to choose. I'm planning on building a lot of these cards as a Popper deck. We'll see how many I actually do make a Popper deck. But yeah, I'm super excited about Popper. I hope you are too. And I hope to see you there. Join the Discord, link in the description. There's also, and I didn't put the information on here, sadly, but Control Players Unite, they are also doing Popper on their channel, and they're doing Popper tournaments on Limitless, which I'm trying to attend to each and every one of those, but I can't always make it. So I highly recommend you check them out. You come over to our Discord, the Jank Discord, and you play some Popper. My Popper format is a little different than theirs, so it might be a little confusing, but we will help you along the way. So I hope to see you there. These are like a bunch of cards that are Popper legal, not... I only put Ruffian there. Every trainer is uncommon as far as I know. Same with every special energy is uncommon. So those are all Popper legal. So yeah, there's a lot to choose from, and I'm sure we can find something that you'll enjoy. Thank you for watching. The Jank List always takes a long time. This took a day and a half of work, which I really appreciate my wife letting me put in this much effort to a hobby of mine. But yeah, thank you everyone for your support. Just watching this, you're giving me support. But if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends, maybe they'll get jank ideas. And I hope you think about joining my Discord for future Popper tournaments, and that's where the jank community really is. So be sure to join there. And this is a picture of our cats, Meowth and Yasha. Meowth named after the Pokemon Meowth. Yasha named after the Critical Role character Yasha. If you haven't seen my Critical Role Universes openings, maybe check those out. And as always, I have a after credits scene. Mega Pokemon are coming. We got 2 Mega Pokemon revealed already. This is Mega Lucario, Mega Gardevoir, which are 3 prize Pokemon. So you gotta keep that in mind. With a Stage 1 having 340 HP, a Stage 2 having 360 HP. These things look really powerful. So for a single energy Mega Lucario, you get to attach up to 3 basic fighting energy cards from your discard pile to your bench in any way you like, and you're doing 130 damage. Plus, there's a new item card coming at the same time as these Mega cards, where attacks used by your fighting Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Then for 2 energy, you have Mega Brave, where you do 270 damage, which can be increased with Premium Power Pro and other means. And yeah, it's just really good overall. Just during your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Mega Brave. We know how to get around that. Just retreat, free retreat, for retreat and double switch. I have a video about it. The double switch, look up that video. And then we got Mega Gardevoir here. Overflowing wishes for each of your benched Pokemon. Search your deck for a basic Psychic Energy card and attach it to that Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck. Single energy, 50 damage. This attack does 50 damage for each Psychic Energy attached to all of your Pokemon. It combos well with Gardevoir EX. And it can be a earlier attacker with that first attack, and then a late game attacker with that second attack. Mega Gardevoir looks to be pretty good and build on top of that Gardevoir EX deck that we already have. And with that, we've actually come to the true ending. Over an hour worth of video. If you're still here, thank you. I appreciate you. Blah, 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 blah. You already heard all that. All I gotta say is until next time, keep playing jank.